You're listening to Little Rockers Radio, and today we are talking to Tina, who is also known as Lala from Lala's Big Live Band, which is an award-winning show on ABC Kids TV, Lala's Adventures, and is loved by many. And we're actually also talking to Tina's husband, Mark, who is also known as Buzz, which is exciting to have both of them chatting to us at the same time. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi, Sarah.
That was in unison. That's perfect. Now, we were just chatting, obviously, a couple of seconds ago. We were talking about the fact that you are kicking off on tour just after Easter, or the 30th of March it starts, and you're travelling. You've got a massive couple of months up. You're travelling right around the country, Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, Queensland, WA, Tasmania, and you were cooking bacon because you're getting into shape before you start touring.
Do this all the time. Like, for us, we're so hopeless. Up until about 3 weeks ago, we were still on a Christmas diet. So it got to the point where Mark and I said, we've really got to get fit for the tour. Otherwise, we won't be able to do the show.
It's really hard work on the road. There's lots of carrying and obviously doing the show. There's tons of running around. So you really have to be quite fit.
So we're on this low carbohydrate, high protein diet at the moment, and we're exercising and we're trying to be really good.
Yeah, well done. And you would so have to be, because I was looking at your schedule. It is literally hectic for like months, through till October, isn't it?
Yeah, but what we do is we tend to tour in school holiday blocks, and that's for a couple of reasons. One, we find that touring in school holidays is great because not a lot of other kids shows actually go out into the school holidays, and because our demographic is a really strange one. Like, we're preschool, but the show actually stretches up into lower primary. So we say 2 to 7 is kind of our sweet spot with the age group, and so that allows mum to come along in the school holidays with, you know, a preschooler and a school age child. Yeah. So we find that that's a really great thing. And the other thing, for our family lifestyle, I mean, Mark and I have got 2 little girls. Emily's 10 and Lily's 12. And when we tour in the school holidays, we take the kids on the road with us. So it means that, you know, we're not away from our girls for a long period of time, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually one of the questions I had for you, was how on earth you manage it all with 2 children that obviously still go to school and have their daily lives. Do you have other family that help out, or do they just come in and travel with you throughout the whole school holidays?
Yes, my mum is the principal one near enough to help out. Our family are variously spread out all over New South Wales. Right. But my mum comes down from her place in the Blue Mountains and pretty much takes over our place.
Yeah, she camps. She comes on in, moves in. And
if the kids are during school term at all, then she'll be here and the kids can keep their regular sort of consistency going. But we like to kind of split it up about 50-50. So when we're on the road, half the time we'll get the kids to come with us and they enjoy helping out. They love the guys in the band. They love seeing all these interesting parts of Australia that they wouldn't otherwise get to. But then half the time they get to hang out with Lele, who they love dearly, and they have a really close relationship, so that's great too.
Great. And that's awesome for them on both parts, isn't it? Like, they get to tour, which is just great, and spend time with their grandparents. And I suppose you're really lucky to be able to have that where grandparents can step in and sort of help out. It makes life so much easier.
And as far as they're concerned, the best part about coming on the road is they get paid to help out. So they get to save a little bit of money to buy some cool things when they get back.
But the boys in the band are just so beautiful. They're so great with kids, and you know, the kids are just part of the team, and we're kind of like a travelling Cirque du Soleil, you know, with the kids on board and the crew and the band and bunch of old carnies.
Well, it makes perfect sense because you're a band for children. So, and that's what I say all the time with Little Rockers Radio. I'm a radio station for children. So my kids come everywhere with me because it just makes sense. It's just all about what we do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Lily, our 12 going on 13-year-old, has decided that she's going to be penning the next script for the show. So she's asked me to send her a brief today.
She's so funny.
I think she's perfectly serious too. You know? Use this one, but it's like getting prepared.
Yeah, practicing for the future. That's great. Now, Tina, I wanted to ask you, I read that you meditate, and Mark, maybe you do too, but you meditate for 20 minutes a day, and I imagine that when you're touring, you need it even more, but I also imagine that the time being able to find the time to do it is difficult. Do you still manage to do that while you're on tour?
Absolutely. So my morning routine, and this started probably about 5 years ago, I think. Yeah, I got sick 5 years ago. I had a bout with breast cancer, and I was introduced to meditation, and it was just the most amazing revelation for me, just to have that 20 minutes every day, because like when you're a busy, crazy mom, you're just going non-stop and you just never have time for yourself. So I get up a little bit earlier than everybody else in the family. Mark's meant to meditate, but he doesn't because he's lazy. But so I get up at 6, I meditate for 20 minutes, and then I go and make my coffee. And so that's kind of my little, I always say it's the defragging of my hard drive. It just gives the day such a great start. And and which I try and do it when I'm on tour as well, because it just makes the whole day go much smoother.
Yeah, and I think it's probably, as mums, we say that we struggle to find the time, and I do, but I also don't get out of bed that little bit earlier to find the time. So, but I think that probably doing that and meditating, you feel fresher than if you had slept in anyway. So,
well, that's what I find. Like I get up at 6, and it's dark, and I think, oh goodness, what am I doing? But by the time I've meditated for 20 minutes, I feel fantastic. So. It really, really works for me. So
great. Now, I just wanted to digress just a little bit and talk a little bit more about music. So you've studied music. You're an operatic singer. Mark, what instrument do you play again, Mark?
I play the double bass, Lola the dancing double bass.
And you've both got an undeniable love for music and a passion for educating children about music and musical instruments. Was music a huge part of both of your lives when you were growing up? Is it in the family or?
In my family, my mum has sung with the Sydney Philharmonia choirs, doing concerts with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra at the Opera House since I was born, really. I was born in Canada, and they came back when I was a baby, and Mum joined straight away and has only just retired from the choir last year. And my dad was a very passionate flamenco guitar player. Not professionally, just in his own time, but he was kind of self-taught, and he's amazing at it. And he's a beautiful singer as well. Obviously, he didn't join a choir or anything like that, but music was a huge part of both of their lives, and they just made every opportunity available to me to play. And there was no pressure. It was just, if you want to do it, we love it. Do you want to do it? And I got the bug. That's my part.
Yeah, for me, it kind of started with my grandfather, who was this beautiful old. He was an old Olympic cyclist. They actually, the velodrome for the Olympics in Sydney is named after him, the Dump Grey Velodrome, and he had this great love of musicals. So every afternoon after school, I'd walk over to Nana and Pa's house, and Pa would have taped the midday musical of the day, and we'd sit down and we'd watch it while we were having afternoon tea. And I think that's where my love of singing started. So, and eventually, after studying for many years, I went to the conservatorium, and that's where I met Mark. He was a dirty, unshaven little jazz musician, and I was a glamorous opera student. And and that's how we met.
and that's where it all came together. And your love for educating children, did that come after you had children, or do you think that was that? Yeah.
Look, Mark and I, after we finished the conservatorium, like we both were there for many, many years.
Far too long.
I don't know what, we just did degree after degree after degree. Anyway, so I always have these crazy ideas. I had this fantastic idea. Let's move to France, and I'm going to become an opera singer in France. So that was my big, let's do this. I just finished doing a master's in French song, and I was like, let's do this. So we packed everything up, and we were newlyweds, and we hit the road, off we went, sold up everything, moved to France, and we were there, and I did some fantastic coachings and things over there, and we very quickly ran out of money. Mark was, we got very fat, eating lots of cheese and drinking red wine. We had a lovely time. And then we moved to Japan because I'd been there on a student exchange years ago with a concert band I used to play with. And I knew that you could go to Japan and teach English. And I thought, well, this will be a great thing to do. So we trained ourselves up to teach TEFL, teaching English as a second language. And we moved to Japan. And then one of the programs there that I was looking after was the kids program. So I was working with little preschoolers, teaching them English, and there was lots of singing and music and things involved, and I loved it. It was really great. And then so we came home to have Lily because I wanted to be around family when she was born.
Yep.
And I didn't want to go back to the opera company. And a girlfriend at the opera said, well, why don't you go and teach early childhood music? And I went, oh, that's actually a really good idea. I love working with kids. So I went off and I retrained, and we opened a little music school, which became incredibly successful very quickly. And then we had 4 music schools, and I was running around teaching everywhere. And at the end of every term, Mark would come in with a double bass, and we'd put on a little concert for the families who were coming to our school.
Wow.
And one of the mums said to me, she goes, you guys are great, you really should do a show. And I went, oh, good idea. So that's kind of where the idea for La La was born. So it's always been very, its DNA, it's really in music education and introducing kids to music and musical instruments. That's really the crux of what La La is.
Yeah, and such a strong part of your background as well.
Yeah.
So that leads on to your children, tour managers, planning for your next shows. Are they also musically gifted?
Well, I must admit, we started their musical education quite late, which is really funny, because here I am running all these music schools and my kids didn't go to early childhood music classes. But I think we had so much music in our lives, and, the kids kind of expected that anyone who came over for dinner, it's just normal that everyone plays a musical instrument. Lily now plays piano and she sings.
Right.
Music's coming to her a little bit. It's always been there, but I think she's kind of really starting to own it now that she's 12.
Yes.
Emily very reluctantly plays the violin. She's very talented, but, it's just like, oh.
They've got about 100 dance classes a week, and that's really where their passion is. They love music so much, but it basically makes them move rather than want to join in playing.
It's really interesting because we can't dance at all, can we?
No, we have a special style.
I'm hopeless. To say that Lala has her own daggy dance style. No matter what our choreographer does, Lala still has that special daggy dance style.
Yeah, but I mean, just back to the kids finally, I think what we've kind of decided in our family is that music education should be a part of the curriculum for the kids.
Yes,
and where it's not taken that seriously in schools or in the system, we've decided that externally it's just going to be part of what they do. And so, in these early days, they may resent having to practice at the piano in the morning, or, they're not that interested in joining the school choir. We just say, well, it's like maths or English. You can't get out of that at school, and you can't get out of music, and one day you'll thank us for it. And so.
But how funny, though. Lily's just joined the choir at school, and she so didn't want to go. She was so like, I don't want to do it. And then she comes back, and she had the best time ever. And I think
she got into the special choir.
I know. Who would have thought? It's great. So, yeah, we're happy with the way their music education is kind of evolving. It's not high pressure. It's just very relaxed, and it's just part of it's part of life.
Yeah, and I can imagine it would be. And I think organically is the best way for these things to happen as well. And it's funny, my daughter also plays the violin and does Irish dancing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't say that she's gifted with the violin, but she has just started and she absolutely loves it. She plays it all the time. So I figure the more she practices, the better she'll get, which is the same with everything in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Potential is only one part of it. It's all about the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've just got to love it. As long as you love what you're doing and you enjoy, whatever it is, then you tend to stick to it and you tend to become so much better at it. But there we go. That's digressing again. So what else is planned for La in 2016?
Oh, well, so the tour is basically, it's 52 venues and 100 concerts all across Australia. So that's a big part of the year for us. We're also going into the studio. We're recording 2 new CDs this year in June, which is really exciting. We have some plans. I'm currently writing a book, which is hopefully going to be out, the first one at the end of the year. And
we have 2 new releases this year.
Yeah, we do. We have 2 new.
Sony Music's releasing Sing It Loud CD
in 2 weeks, isn't it?
In 2 weeks' time,
yeah,
and right. Concurrently. Roadshow Entertainment's releasing the next title from the Lala's Adventures DVD series.
Right.
Called Time to Play.
time to play. Nice. So just a quiet year for you guys.
Just a little year. Not much.
Not much happening.
We're in the middle of trying to buy a house at the moment too.
Oh, that's just crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh, I can
in Sydney, no less.
In Sydney, trying to buy a house in Sydney. Who would want to?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Exactly. And just to fit it in amongst everything that you're doing. That's insane. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, the tour kicks off on the 30th of March. It's starting in New South Wales. Tour information and ticket information is all available on your website, which is www.la-la.com. I didn't want to just say Lala. And we'll also have obviously all the information up on our website, which is littlerockersradio.com.au. So thanks so much for taking the time to join me today, and thanks for joining in, Mark. It was great to chat to both of you at the same time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us, Sarah. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, and best of luck with the tour and with your quiet 2016.
Thank you.
Thank you.